Oh, hello, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box. Now, as most of you know, I love Bob Seger, one of the finest songwriters of all time, and we talk about him on this channel a lot. But today we're going to talk about him not because he's a great musician, but because of an interesting decision he made in 2017. Now, this album might make some of you feel old, or it might make some of you feel the time has really flown by, because 1917, 1917. 2017 feels like it was just yesterday, but it was a while ago. Some would even say several years ago. And it was in that year that Bob Seger finally agreed to put most of his albums, his big hits, on to Spotify and fellow streaming services. He and King Crimson, who made the same decision in 2019 to join the club, were the final really big holdouts in terms of joining streaming. And that's really sort of the concept I want to go into today. There used to be a time, boys and girls, and it's vaguely hard to remember, when artists would make a decision not to join streaming services and they would stick with that decision. While many artists, and eventually most artists, were on your Spotify's and your Whatify's from day one, a lot of big artists were holdouts, and it was really between 2010 and 2020 that all of this changed. And so by 2020, most big legacy artists, most pretty much every new artist, and then artists from other genres outside the pop world, classical for instance, all found their way to streaming services, but it wasn't always so. Spotify came out initially around 2006, 2007, came to the US, I think, in 2009. And a lot of bands were very, very hesitant. For instance, the Beatles only went to iTunes. This isn't streaming. This was downloads in 2010, very late to the game. And they only joined streaming services in 2015. Pink Floyd were also very late, as were Peter Gabriel. Pink Floyd joined in around 2013. I think Peter Gabriel joined sometime after that. Like I said, King Crimson joined in 2019, and Bob Seger joined in 2017. Again, one of the very lates, considering how big he was, and because he, was a huge singer-songwriter, as opposed to King Crimson, a prolific sort of prog band that always had one foot in the underground. I would say that it's a very fair case to make that Bob Seger was one of the final huge acts to join streaming services. So why did so many artists resist the temptation to make their music more accessible? Well, it's well known that streaming services don't pay their artists well, and this is something that artists have said most acutely about the most popular of all the streaming services, Spotify, that they just don't pay their artists well. But so the rationale is that, right, I'll force them to buy my physical media, where I have a bit more control over the revenue stream. The downside of that is that people just stop buying physical media. Again, I know people say, well, the record's coming back, the CD's coming back. Yeah, it's becoming more popular among audiophiles or collectors or niche people or weird people. But for most people, it's really online, streaming, or nothing. And so artists really, for the first time, faced actually fading away from public consciousness if they didn't take the decision to join a streaming platform. And that's the reality that we're in today. Either go on to Spotify or be forgotten, become inaccessible, because it doesn't dawn on people that it's even something plausible that, oh, well, my favorite artist, or well, I suppose if it was your favorite artist, you would, but this artist I want to learn about, let's say, isn't on Spotify. I'm going to go and buy their record or CD. It's just not going to happen. And this is true with a lot of technologies. Some artists were late to adopt the LP, some were late to adopt the CD. But when it comes to streaming, because the revenue model was so different, you did have a relatively significant amount of artists who were late to the party, but not without cause. But here we are, and now just about everyone is on streaming. There's still some people that reappear and disappear because of legal disputes, but apart from that, just about everyone is on streaming because that is the global jukebox of the modern era. Let me know what you think, and as always, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.